Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. And today we have another magnificent guest. We have a fellow Vaughn agent who absolutely crushes it. Household name. Trying to be like him one day. And but it's none other than Mr. Nirsh. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I think you're overly kind with that intro, but thank you.
Well, I mean, if you just drive around Vaughn, you'll see signs everywhere. So it speaks for itself.
Trying, you know.
You're doing a wonderful job. So let's, besides Mark, I think you're my second Vaughn agent.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of Toronto, a lot of mixed.
Nice.
Yeah, I may be wrong.
We'll bring a little suburb flavor to your
podcast.
podcast.
Bring some suburb flavor. Yeah, we're gonna bring it all.
Nice.
If you want to let's tell the audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, how long you've been in the business. Give a little bit of background, your story.
I got my license in December 2012. Did it part-time for about a year. Realized couldn't do that. And
why is that?
You know what? It's hard to work 7 days a week and nights and weekends, and clients call you during the day. It's hard to negotiate a deal while you're, working for somebody.
For sure.
So I was like, it's feast or famine. It's like, I'm going to go do this or I'm not.
Yeah.
And the company I was working for at the time was offering packages. And my boss, actually, who's my kid's godmother, she was like, if you stick around for a little while, I think I can get you a package. And I was like, when you get into this business, they always say, make sure you have 6 months of savings to cover you lined up. So I was like, okay, this is 6 months, a 6-month package. I'm good. Mm-hmm. So I took it. And funny enough, I didn't tell my wife that I took the package. And I told her later it didn't work out that well. And we argued a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it 100%.
For sure.
So I took the package, and, the minute I left my job, I remember January 31st, 2014, I left my job, and I drove at 9:45 a.m. I left, and I drove to my office, and I started cold calling. At 10:30, I was at the office cold calling, because my wife and I made a deal at the end that said, if I didn't make the same amount of money, which I was making just about 6 figures in my previous role in supply chain, I have to go back to working. I said, I'm not going back. So the minute I finished there, I went to start working in real estate, and, things started to hit when I was there. You're there during the day, you're immersed in it. And then money started to come, and I didn't have to go back to work.
That's it. And so how was that feeling like that? Because I'm sure a lot of people are a lot of part-timers out there who are probably scared to take that leap. So how's that feeling, like making that decision, just kind of going into the unknown of like, I got to wake up and I'm unemployed essentially every day. I got to work for my every dollar, right? So it's like, how is that transition? How's that feeling? It's
scary. I got to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Like my mind, and I'm like an A-type personality, so I think about it a lot. I'm a very light sleeper, and I think about it a lot. And at the time, my wife was on maternity leave, and I had a newborn daughter. So for me, it was like, I got to put food on the table. I got 2 car payments and a mortgage to take care of. So there wasn't really any, I couldn't think about, what if this doesn't work out? It was, I'm going to make this work out.
Yeah.
Called everybody I knew, posted everywhere on Facebook, Instagram. Thanks to my wife, made sure I was on social media at the time.
Smart woman.
She's like, you're going to be in real estate? You better be on social media. Because before I was
Good girl.
Everyone posts everything on social media. I don't want to be on it. She's like, you're doing it. So, and then, people started to watch. And then people I know started to, they'd watch, they'd like, they wouldn't say anything. And then a couple of years later, they would call. But at the beginning, I used to door knock, cold call, and I go after expired listings.
Amazing. I was doing similar things. Less fire under my ass, right? Like I was 25 at the time. So just like starting out my life. But I can just imagine, man, like it's a lot of pressure. That'll really do something to someone, So when you like that first day you're cold calling, were you already trained on how to cold call, script work? Like, or did you just throw yourself into it?
I had a coach.
Okay.
So when I got into it part-time, I started to get a coach, a real estate coach.
What kind? From a certain, like one of the big names?
One of the big companies. I don't know. You want me to name them?
Yeah,
here?
That's
So I went into the Mike Ferry program.
Okay, I did the same.
Yeah. So like Mike Ferry is good business program. Like they teach you how to, structure your business, how to structure your day, that kind of stuff. And, that's good to start the business. And then as you evolve in the business, I found I grew out of it and you needed something that was more, because there's, 10 ways to skin a cat. And, I needed to figure out how, include social media, include farming, including these other stuff. Because the Mike Ferry thing is about use your phone, spend a little as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And, which is good when you're starting out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're losing business because you're not spending some money, it's a problem. And there's other ways to attract business other than just the phone call. And let's face it, most people got rid of their home phones. So then you're having to, cell phone lists weren't really available at that time. And when somebody calls you on your cell phone, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
As a cold call, right?
Did you entertain door knocking at all?
I did. So when I was part-time, I would door knock every weekend.
Okay.
I would take every Saturday morning from 10 to 3. I would go door knock. And the reason I did it on Saturday mornings is because people would decompress from Friday nights. Like they've come home over a long week and they're happier and they want to talk to you. They're out gardening, or, they've come home, they've taken their kids to swimming or whatever. And they're more pleasant with you. So I got to know my neighbors, the neighborhood. So everyone knew who I was at that point.
And you mentioned prior to this chat here, when we spoke on the phone, you're targeting the area you live in.
Yeah. So the reason you target the area you live in is because people recognize you. And if they're in that area, whether they're at the daycare. So like at one point, and a lot of people don't know this, is I put my house for sale. I would say a little after I went full time. And so I put my house for sale and it sold. And then me and a colleague went after a listing down the street that was expired. And so I got to have both signs there because my colleague's like, listen, that's where you live. Put your sign.
Yeah.
It was, I'll give him credit for that. And we got the listing. And then, I was dropping my daughter off to daycare. And one of the mom goes, aren't you the guy with all your the signs in the neighborhood?
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are mine, right? And again, I put my face on my signs because my wife told me, even though I thought it was tacky.
Yeah. She let's give her some credit.
100%.
What's her name?
Marisa.
Marisa, shout out to you.
She's the reason I've gotten to where, and she sacrificed a lot.
That's awesome.
For our family. So, and then people would recognize, like you go to the daycare, and if you're in that community and people are seeing you all the time at the grocery store or whatever, I always get these funny looks. And they're like, they think they know me, but they're not sure where they know me from. Yes. So whether it was daycare or the school or whatever it was, people would start to recognize. And then they see a sign, then they see a flyer, then they see, so it's all kind of reinforcement. Then they see an Instagram or a Facebook ad.
Yes.
So it all works together, part and parcel.
Yeah.
But because when you're in the neighborhood, parents are seeing you drop your kids off at school, right? So then they're like, oh, that's the real estate agent.
That's awesome, man. And you are you throwing any yard signage out there? Billboards, maybe bus stop, shelters?
Billboards and bus stops, I'm not. I've been approached for quite a bit, and I don't know, maybe I just haven't got my head around that. I know it's expensive, but I just haven't got my head around that. Or I'm maybe shy, and I don't really want to be plastered everywhere.
For sure.
But so I'm okay with just, hitting the neighborhood mainly, and then, wherever my signs are.
And to this day, you're still doing the same routine?
Yeah, I'm still doing. I don't cold call anymore.
Okay.
I don't door knock anymore.
Yeah.
Even though even my assistant, she printed all these flyers for door knocking. I'm like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now too where it's like, I've been blessed that 80% of my business is referral. So now the calls come in and the referrals come in. Thank God to my clients. Couldn't be anywhere without them. So I don't do a lot of that stuff now. I really just want to deal with people that I know or have been referred to me at this point. And I figure I've put my time in.
Definitely.
As weird as that might sound to say, I figure I put my time in.
Well, it gets tiring. It does. It's a lot of plugging away in the beginning, but that's what sets you apart too, right?
That's it.
And did you switch up your scripts, ultimately? Because I know the Mike Ferry one is pretty,
It's pretty tight.
It's tight, yeah.
It's tight. It's very can I have a commission reduction? No. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's nicer ways to say these things, right?
Yeah.
And, it's very hard, to use that script. And the funny thing is, if, you got a lot of people who are cold calling or going after expireds, when they talk about those scripts, a lot of, what I got was, you guys all sound the same. You guys all sound the same. So you
Yes.
have to kind of make it your own. So do I switch up the script when we talk about commission? Sure. We talk about value more than, it's not just, why can't I reduce it? It's because I do X, Y, and Z for you. And that's why, a lot of agents may not spend that money. I spend that money, and that's why you should hire me, and that's why you should pay X amount of percentage.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah, please.
Because we haven't really talked commission on this podcast yet. A lot of people always ask for that 1%. Like, there's always 1% agents out there. People advertise 1%, 1%. Then there's guys, like yourself and other guys who do extremely well, like, full pop, right? Or charging more than one. So it's like, what do you really say to your prospective client to get them to spend more, use you? Like, how do you show that value versus them just saying, I'm just going to go to Joe Bob, who's going to give me it for 1%,
So it's actually a hybrid of kind of what we were talking about, but it's part of the Mike Ferry thing was, if this agent can't negotiate their own commission, how do you think they're going to do with the equity in your home?
Yes. I've heard this one before. I like that one.
So that's part of it, which is true. But the second part is, here's what I'm going to do. I'm invested in your house. And every listing, I spend $5,000 to $8,000 getting these houses ready, from painting to staging to cleaning. They need boxes. I bring in electricians. As long as they pay for like certain material, I take care of everything else because I present a house. And with housing prices where they're at right now, I'm not going to lie, like, we make decent money.
Yeah.
So me investing in a house for $5,000 to $8,000 to get a return of, we'll talk about like 30, 40 grand, like. The margin is there.
Yeah.
So if you're running any other business, I treat it like a business. And that's, I think, part of the problem when agents are looking at commission and all this stuff. They're not treating it as a business, because what they have to look at is the brokerage takes a cut. And I explain this to my clients too. We don't walk away with all of our, commission. The brokerage takes a cut. The government takes a very big cut.
Yep.
And then we pay our expenses out of whatever else is there. But I say, listen, I'm investing in your house to prep your house. So you get more money in your pocket. And this is why you should hire me for X amount. And I'm not saying I don't ever discount, because I think any agent who tells you that they don't ever discount, I don't know if they're necessarily telling the truth. I've got lots of clients and friends who I do business with, and if they're buying and selling with me, I'll give them some sort of discount.
Exactly.
I don't do stuff for 1%. I don't. But any other stuff, like, will I give them a 0.5% here and there? Yeah. And have I given stuff up during the deal to make a deal because, everyone's drawn a line in the sand? Sure. Yeah. But I look at the big picture. It's kind of, how do you move on to the next deal? Or if someone's buying and selling and I'm making, some people's salary in a yearly salary, like, it's not about greed for me. For me, I want everyone to have a good experience. I want my time and money that I'm spending to be valued. And that's it. So I just look at it like, if you're running a store, you have a cost of goods sold, or a restaurant, you have a cost of goods sold. They look at food margin as like 30%.
Yeah.
Right. So I try to mirror something like that says, okay, if my costs are between, 15 to 25%, there's a good chunk of money left over on the other side.
And you mentioned you'll do like a full service package, like the painting, the staging, electrical, whatever kind of maybe trades work that needs to come in.
Yeah.
Did you have to learn the hard way to implement this? Because just like we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, so I learned the hard way in that. So there's a couple of, like, do I name agents here? Or
yeah, sure.
Okay, so there's a big agent in Vaughan. She was like #1 forever. Her name's Vesna.
We know Vesna.
Great agent.
Yeah.
She gets a lot of listings. I think probably over 100 a year, maybe more. And I lost like 2 or 3 to her. And they were like, well, Vesna's going to do X, Y, and Z, which was paint and stage. And, she puts them up in a hotel for the weekend.
Yeah.
And I said, like, okay, well, how much does all this cost? Because I don't want to lose another listing to her. So I was like, okay, does this make sense? And I did the math. And I'm like, okay, so this might be 25% of what the commission check is. And if they're buying with me, it becomes now, like, I look at the cost percentage, it becomes 12% or 15% of the total commission. I'm like, I can do this. And I get a write-off, a full write-off for all of this stuff. So I said, I'm not going to lose any more listings. If I lose to Vesna, it's not because I didn't provide a service, is the way I looked at it. And then once I started offering that as a package, I don't know if I've gone up against Vesta in any of them, because some of the homeowners don't tell me, but I have won other listings because I offer a full service package. But yeah, I learned the hard way. I lost 2 or 3 listings because of it. I'm like, I'm not losing anymore.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
And customer service is big in your world, right? And we talked about, there's stigmas with maybe realtors, maybe, might be sleazy or rip people off or greedy. So having proper structured customer service is so important. So let's talk about that and how you value that in your business.
So I think customer service is number one.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these guys, if you do right by them, they're going to be your advocates. So whatever my clients need to make this process easier for them, because it's a hard process.
Yeah.
Like moving is a hard process, and I've moved, and I speak from experience because I moved every 1 to 3 years for the last, this is actually the longest I've been in a house, but 1 to 3 years.
Do you want to sell it?
Me and my wife, trust me,
I'll sell it for you.
It's always available for sale. Bring a buyer. I'll pay your commission.
Classic.
But, I know what they're going through, and I know, when you're decluttering, you need a bin to throw out garbage. Everyone says, I don't have any garbage. And I put a bin in their driveway and it's stacked overflowing.
Yeah.
Right? So I think if you take away all clients' pain points, like a cleaner on closing, cleaner before we go to market, you take away those pain points, like painting. Everyone thinks painting is a big deal, but I got a great painter who I work with, and, we prep the home to look proper, because I walked into houses where the walls are red, green, yellow, and blue.
Yeah.
And when the buyers walk in, they look and they're like, oh, this is a big job, but it's not. So we'll paint stuff to neutralize it.
Yep.
So that they get more money. I say, listen, you just have to give me the keys and let me do my thing.
Yes.
And then if I need something, I'll ask you. But when I bring an electrician to put lights up, all that stuff, they're like, oh, I don't have to do that. I'm like, no, you just focus on what my stager tells you to do from a decluttering point of view, and I'll do the rest.
Yeah.
And, a lot of those, there's a sense of relief for clients in an already stressful period in their life, because they're selling and buying homes, and those are the biggest assets that they'll ever have or they'll ever sell. So they want to know if somebody actually cares. And, obviously we're all available. I'm on a chat with my assistant and my clients. I'm on a WhatsApp chat if they're technically, in that age group where they know what WhatsApp is. We're on a chat all day long. And if I'm not available, we're in this podcast now, my assistant's on that chat, so she'll answer questions. So it's always being available for them. But customer service is number one. And once these guys are your advocates, your name gets shouted from the roof.
Yes.
And, God bless. I love my clients. And, and this is why I don't, at this point, have to pick up the phone anymore for business. The calls are incoming now, which is, I'm lucky, and I hope that never changes.
Yeah.
But
I keep seeing your face more and more. So
thank you.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Thank you.
It's nice to look at. So I'm sure Marissa agrees. But now, so that's the listing side. When the deal's done on closing, super important to continue customer service, right? All the way to the end, even beyond. So do you do anything, any nice little things for your clients, come closing time, or even beyond closing, just to stay relevant? And
yeah, absolutely. So everyone's obviously on my database, so they all get my newsletter.
Yeah.
Every client's a little different. So sometimes I might not go there right on closing day because it's a stressful time, but 2-3 months after, or 4 months after, or 5 months after, I'm going to go there. I'm going to pop in generally secretly, or I'm going to drop something off depending on what they need. I don't want to just send a standard gift to them.
So you wait a bit?
I wait.
Okay.
Closing day, I've tried to do stuff on closing day, and it's a panic sometimes.
Yeah.
That period, they're moving that day or they're not, or it's hard to time. I talked about, I've sent pizzas before, but they're like, oh, we're not moving in yet, and the pizzas show up, right? They're like, oh, we got a bridge, we're moving tomorrow, and it's like, oh, that was a bit of a waste of
pizza
of that. So yeah, it's a bit of a waste of pizza. I try to figure
out
go
eat it
what
personally.
So it's a bit of I find I want to do something special for each client at a different time when they've settled into the house, and maybe they're doing renovations, so they need a Home Depot gift card, or they need so to decorate their house, they might need a Winners Home Sense gift card, or family might need to do something and send them somewhere. So it's different. I'm trying to do something different for every client, but then after that, every 3 months or 6 months, I'm in touch with my clients and we're doing something. Pre-COVID, I had a nice appreciation brunch at a hall in Vaughan.
Those are good.
And it was good. I got to see all my clients in one place. I brought Spider-Man and Elsa and, photo booth. So just a fun thing where I tell them, everybody who's ever referred me or my clients, they were all at that party. But on Easter, my wife had a great idea when COVID hit. She's like, oh, this vegan baker that we know, she's started a business and she's making cookie kits, DIY cookie kits. So I ended up saying, okay, let me order like 25 or 30 of these for some of my clients with kids. So by the time we actually did it, I ended up sending out like 80 of them. Now, the list that goes out is somewhere between 150 and 200 of those. So those go out, at the Easter time.
Smart.
And, I do it because I want to bring smiles to their faces.
100%.
And, there's a benefit to it because, they repost you.
Yeah.
On Instagram or Facebook, and they thank you. And it's not that I really want that, but at the same time, it's an added benefit. And then what's happening is they're reposting it to their network. They're like, oh, your realtor did that?
Yes.
Right? Thanksgiving, we sent out pies to everyone. Everyone in that database as well. The summer I do more community events, which have kind of been halted, but right now, next week, the school call, they're doing a movie thing for the carnival. So we're going to sponsor that. So I'm in touch with my clients 2-3 times a year. Christmas, everybody gets a gift. So it's not just the clients that year. Every year, all my clients from beginning to end that I'm in touch with, unless it was like a messy divorce and they don't, I wasn't their choice. That kind of thing. They also get a Christmas gift every year from me, from my very first client who gave me the opportunity to get my next client and my next client and my next client. They get a gift. So that was 9 years ago, my first client, and when I was part-time. And they still
get gifts?
Get a gift for me. It's just small, I'm thinking about you. You guys gave me my opportunity. And I appreciate you. And, a lot of people, they appreciate it.
For sure. I think it's the small things, right?
Yeah.
And it's way beyond the transaction. And it really sets you apart, or anyone who does these kind of gestures, because, some people they're in there to get the deal done and they're gone, right? And you spoke at the Buzz conference about having proper systems in place. So a database is huge. Yeah. I didn't have one until last year, like I do, but I was organizing the hardest way possible. Things are just written on paper. So Christmas cards, I literally just went through every one of the deals I've ever done. It's okay, name, address, and not organized, right? But it makes life so much easier. And then you're able to do things like send out invites for events, organize for Christmas or Easter and stuff like that. So how much are systems, how important are systems to you in the business? Yeah,
if you're going to scale and get to a higher transaction count, you have to have the systems in there. So when I came in, and with my assistant, I got an assistant 4 years ago, and it allowed me to step out of the everyday admin stuff, because it's okay. Here's our checklist. What do we do for every, listing, closing, whatever? And, I have OCD. I'm high, type A personality, gold personality. So for me, it's letting go was hard, but I've let go in the last couple of years more to her, and she's running with it because she knows the system. She knows who our stagers are. She knows who our painters are. She manages them.
Yes.
So, but if the system wasn't in place of who to call for X, Y, and Z, it wouldn't be there. And we have the checklist and what to do on closing, how to end in a deal. We have all of that in place. So you cannot grow if you don't have the systems.
Yes.
And part of systems, I believe, is structure. And, for me, I came from the corporate world. For 13 years, I was in purchasing and planning, so supply chain. So going to the office at 8:30 in the morning, this is normal for me. It doesn't register in my brain how, people aren't in the office. Because a lot of times, I'm in the office at 8:30 and then people don't show up till 10, 11, 11:30. I see them at the gym, and, everyone's got a different schedule.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do that. And maybe that's a downfall too, because trying to relax is sometimes harder. But, that's part of it. Structure and systems all, I think, work together. So in the morning from 8 to 12, I'm prospecting. Or I'm doing follow-up at this point with, warmer leads. And in the afternoon, we're doing admin stuff. and then if I don't have any appointments at night, I'm going home to my family.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, like if you don't have systems in place, you won't be able to scale.
for sure. And I dealt with that issue starting last year. So I have like a little team, my assistant, like it's all like I was doing everything, and I'm like, Matt, duplicate yourself. Let's go. Like, what are you doing? It was not sustainable, and I was just like stressing the hell out. I lost one hair in the back of my head, and I'm like, I cannot do this anymore, you know? So,
yeah, the thing is, and as you let go to your assistant, did you find that more business came in because of it?
yeah, so he's still fresh. So it's still newer to me. But yeah, I mean, it just frees up space, right? You only have so much energy per day and hours, and allocating all those smaller little tasks, because I am not the most efficient guy. Definitely not. Like,
I don't think any of us.
I can just sit at the computer and it'll take me probably 4 hours to do something that could probably take half an hour for someone else. Yeah, I'm a procrastinator. I'm like, I have to get up and like touch things. Like that's me.
But do you work well under pressure?
Amazing under pressure.
Yeah.
Amazing under pressure. But I'm way better out and like talking to people, out in person, driving, phone calls, doing those kind of things. That's where I generate my business, stuff like this, and all that stuff taken care of. So now it's been amazing, and more business has been flowing because it's all being done just like you said. So super important, especially to scale. So believe it or not, we're nearing the end here.
Oh,
it's these things
quick.
fly, especially when we're
having
a great conversation. But I would love your insight, because I know you do post a lot of market updates and stuff on your Instagram on the current market. I mean, we are May 2022.
June.
Oh
it's June
my God,
today.
it's June. Okay, June 1st though.
Yeah, June 1st.
We gotta cut Matt some slack here, okay?
You got all the slack you need.
It's my cat's birthday, but interest rates are going up again, right? Or are they?
It went up today.
Today, right?
It was announced it went up 0.5 point.
So what do you think the effect is going to be here?
So this whole thing that we're looking at right now, I think, is a lot similar to the 2017 market.
Yep.
And it scaled exactly the same way. January, February was sky high. March, even April, you started to hear the rumblings of a foreign buyer tax. Media overhyped it. Government election was coming. They all were trying to get votes. So then the fear and panic set into buyers, and they backed off. And then everybody else threw their house on the market because they're like, the sky is falling. I gotta time the market and get out. So I think we've done the same way. So the difference now is that interest rates are climbing, and they've been at an all-time record low. Now, before, in 2017, the rates were high already. They were in the 3s to 4s anyway. And if you look at where we're at right now with these rate hikes, we're getting back up there. Are housing prices a lot higher than they were in 2017? Sure, they were. I don't think that they're exorbitantly much higher, but they are a decent amount higher. Like they say 50% since 2020, but we also had a drop in 2017, 2018. So I think we're on that same path. Now, they're just trying to bring the rates up to control inflation.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think as supply chains and all this stuff naturally get back on track, and manufacturing and post-COVID get back on track, I think things will settle. But right now they're trying to get back what they dropped, which was 1.75%. They might have to go a little higher. So short term, I think people's discretionary spending is going to have to change, because now they're servicing their mortgage is going to cost them a lot more money. Right? And a lot of people during the pandemic took on more debt.
Yes.
Right? If you're in a fixed, you're fine for the next 5 years. If you're in a variable, it's going up, but at the same time, you had ultra low rates that weren't even normal.
Yes. Free money for a really long time, and that's where a lot of people got into it. So I think you have to change, but a lot of people didn't get to go out anywhere. They didn't get to travel. So a lot of people also saved money. They weren't spending money on gas because, they were doing a lot of work from home. So the current market, I think, is more like, buyers complained in January and February that there were 20 offers in every house. Now there's not 20 offers every house. You can wait 2 weeks, make an offer, and negotiate, and they're still not coming through. I think they will come back once all of the rate hike and the media settle down. But we had such huge gains. So this is why I'll say to my clients now who are selling, we saw a 30% gain in prices from like October to February, which isn't normal. And all of us agents who do any business, we all agree, right? We're like, that's not normal. This is outrageous, some of these prices. So we've given back about 20% of it.
We're still up 10%. So I say to my clients, if you had never seen 30, would you be happy with the 10% year over year thing? And the answer to them is yes. So I'd be like, okay, so let's not be greedy. Take what we can get, and we move on.
Yeah.
And as long as that mentality comes into play for sellers, I think everything will settle down. And as long as they're willing to take a decent price for their home, which is more than last year, then, you should be good. But everyone's got to get into that mindset.
Yeah.
Buying agents, buyers, sellers, everybody, and the media has to calm down. And I find the media is part of the problem because they like a juicy story.
Yeah.
And the juicy story is, the housing crash is coming.
Yeah,
the bubble is bursting. No, this is a soft landing.
Yeah.
And we're just giving back some of the, a few people capitalized who sold in February and got their 30% year over year. But right now, I think if everyone does, buyers just get back to the market normally, I think it'll take probably 6 months to a year, maybe 18 months to get back to a normal thing. But we've had such big gains that it doesn't matter at this point. If you bought a house in the last 2-3 years, you made money.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Again, what do I know?
No, I mean, it's pretty congruent across the board. Like a lot of us can agree with that. I mean, I tell my clients very similar things. So it's just perspective. You just got to put everything into perspective, really look at things, zoom out a little bit, and appreciate that you're still winning at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely. My first mortgage was 4.7%. And at the time, mortgages, and this was 2005, at the time, mortgage rates were between 5 and 6. So I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that the free money they've been getting, like even at 3% and 4%, that's cheap. And then at 1.5, 1.2, when people locked in, I was like, this is dirt cheap. You can throw a dart and hit anything in real estate and make more than 1 to 2% because the money's not going anywhere in the bank. And with inflation, you're losing money.
Yeah.
So, this is free money. Our parents, how many times do your parents said 11 to 18% we were paying 22% on mortgages?
I hear those crazy numbers. Yeah.
Right? So, 5%, 4%, this is easy money. Like this is great. And especially we get to be in the GTA where real estate has consistently gone up because we have a lot of immigration into the GTA with people coming here with money.
Yeah.
So it's a safe investment.
I agree. I don't think we're going anywhere.
No, I agree.
Strap in. So, Nirsh, it's been a pleasure. You've been awesome.
Thank you for having me. No, I appreciate you having me on.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited for this one.
Thank you.
We need to do a deal.
Yes. Did you tell everybody about how we were this close to doing a deal?
We were very close.
Just before the pandemic hit, we were this close. I remember I was in Vegas and me and Matt were talking about a listing I had in Vaughan, and he had a buyer, and we were going back and forth. And your buyer didn't want to pull the trigger, right? Was that it?
Yep.
Didn't want to pull the trigger.
Tough. They were tough.
Did you end up getting them a place?
I did.
Yeah.
For I think more.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just funny how things work out, price point wise, right?
Yeah.
But they were just, it was just that kind of market and super picky. I mean, we're back there now, but we'll get one.
I think we got to do more than one.
We're gonna do three before year end.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Sounds
good. If anyone out there wants to sell a house, contact him. And if you want to buy that same house, contact me, and we'll set up.
Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. For all your new fans, where can they find you?
Instagram, Facebook, Nirsh, ARUL_Remax on Instagram. And then my Instagram and Facebook is Connect. I'm under Nirsh Arul on Facebook.
Amazing. So we're going to post all your links so everyone sees it. But to everyone out there that continuously watches, thank you for all the support. You guys are great. And stay tuned as always. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you.